I should put my.
A 1, 2, 3.
Gonna walk that promenade, yeah, we're gonna rock that promenade, be the talk of that promenade, looking for a star drifter, not a shapeshifter, lots to do and more to see, sweet sticks from a dumb tree, oh oddities, opportunities, free advice but not for cheapo gambling wheels, shaded deals, meet me back here tomorrow, please. Walk that promenade. Yeah, we're gonna rock that promenade.
Hello and good evening for Monday, April 1st, 2024. Star Trek DS9, Season 7, Episode 19, Strange Bedfellows is over, and it has been since 1999, but we're just getting started here 25 years later as we continue our ongoing pursuit to watch every episode of Star Trek DS9 and review it. Only a few left to go here. I'm Dave Mader, streaming here live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch, and I'm joined once again with some great panelists to break this all down, talk about it, and rock that promenade. First up, we got the Niner himself, the inimitable Kevin Millard.
Hello, Dave. I don't think I'm going to be able to match that energy, but
Okay, well,
Yeah.
you know, I'm just trying to set a tone here. Coming to us once again from the basement. I think he's in the basement. It is Adam Woodward.
Hey guys, much better episode than last week. I'm gonna say that. Starting with some good energy, Dave.
Okay, yep, I'm with you on that one. We're going to be breaking all this down tonight. This is a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen this episode, you probably don't want to hang around. And we'll be diving into it, talking about the whole plot and everything we liked and disliked about it for roughly the next hour or so, and then we'll be finishing off with a rating. So regrets from the other panelists like Jeff and Jaemeel and Jody. I guess he's under the weather tonight, but happy Easter, of course, as well for those celebrating. Or I think it's also Eid and maybe Passover. I don't know. Guys, but we're here to talk about not those religions, not those earthbound religions, but rather the faith in the prophets or in the Pa race or a holy war in general. As this has been heating up, as we see in this episode, Kai Wynn goes full in with Dukat, although she doesn't know it's Dukat yet, and they have joined forces by the end of this episode to take down the emissary and the prophets and everything else. But other things happen too. Like that's what else? Like Damar, he turns on the Dominioneer. He helps Ezri and Worf escape execution, and now has become a mole inside of the Cardassian government. What else happened in this episode? Oh, Cisco is trying to get Cassidy to convert to the religion and start blessing weddings and things like that.
That's just a bad idea. Bad idea right there.
Yeah. There's a great scene with Martok in this episode where he's talking to Cisco about being married, which is maybe one of my all-time favorite Martok scenes in any episode. So there's some good stuff to unpack here tonight. But let's go to Kevin first. How do you feel about Strange Bedfellows in this as this particular chapter in this 9-part finale?
well, it's great. It's hard to differentiate these, knowing the story already. But yeah, this I love like Kai Wynn's. This is Kai Wynn's episode for me. She like has this crisis of faith. She says she'll do anything to change, except the thing she needs to do.
Right.
And I love it, and it really cements her as like a delusional villain, on par with Dukat.
Right.
Bejor needs me.
Exactly. And Adam, so we're always trying to make sure we don't spoil the ending too much here for you. But so you're watching this for the first time ever, 25 years later. You said you liked this one a bit more than the first two installments. What stood out for you?
Okay, so I think you called it some of my favorite parts, but the biggest one being the ally at the end that I didn't see coming. That was a nice surprise there. I don't understand the whole Breen relationship with help me out here.
Wayun.
Thank you. With Wayun, and I'm waiting to see more about that and what that's all about. But Kevin, you absolutely called it out. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and and nothing's changed. Nothing's changed in the future. It's the same old stuff. She cannot give it up.
Yeah.
Of course, this is a live chat here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Our first newest patron, Norman Buckwald, is calling this out as a 9 out of 10. Probably will be close to an hour late to make this. But if you have any comments by the end of the stream, Norman, we will try to make sure we fit those in. Of course, we have Sam with us once again. He wants to know how much chocolate we each eat. I eat a lot. And do we know that CTV Sci-Fi Channel plays DS9 on Saturday mornings? No, because I didn't know that was still a channel.
Yeah,
it
I
is.
haven't had TV
I watched
in 10 years.
in hotel rooms when I'm traveling across the country. It's Deep Space. Next Gen's on like at 10 o'clock at night, depending on what time zone you're in.
Oh, there you go. So, well, that's it's completely rewatchable. Always love going back to those episodes. And yes, happy April Fool's Day if you're celebrating. So, all right, and with that, let's jump into the screenshots. I have about 300 here to jump through to relive this plot of this episode. What I also like. I guess we'll see his title card come up. But this episode penned by Ronald D. Moore, who is one of my all-time favorite Star Trek writers.
Can I say something before on him? So yeah. I just was reading more about one of my favorite shows, Battlestar Galactica, the reboot, and didn't understand that he had gone from this to Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, and pretty much right from this to that.
Right, and now my wife and I were talking about this. We completely see the similarities between the religion of this show and the religion that was created in Battlestar, which I liked a lot more than this. But so now see the that relationship made sense for me. I think he gave it his first go here and then thought, how can I make it better?
Well, yeah, he joined the staff in the third season, so some of this religious stuff was definitely already in play. But I feel like it definitely. The whole him as the emissary and and everything else really kind of amps up when he comes into the show. I don't know if it's only because of him. I
think he was the only crossover right between the two shows. So
yeah, because
definitely brought something with it.
He came out over basically when Next Gen ended, because he was one of the writers on Next Gen. And so he went to Deep Space, and Brandon Braga, who he co-wrote First Contact with and Generations and the finale, All Good Things, he went to Voyager instead. And so and I feel like it's one of the strongest writer rooms Star Trek ever had was these last few seasons to Deep Space Nine. A lot of these writers, some of them went off to do other shows that your mileage may vary, Earth Final Conflict and whatever else. But Battlestar Galactica, I think, also being a big one, very successful. I wonder if Ronald D. Moore is even religious or not.
I don't know, but I mean, what with Battlestar for me, it was just. Everything about that show was fantastic, and I even the religious side of it, which I'm not as crazy about on this show, but
yeah. And Ronald D. Moore also on the show For All Mankind, which is still going right now. Which not a ton of religion in that, but some. I think they do definitely touch on it. Okay, so the episode picks up right where we left off in the previous episode, which was called "Till Death Do Us Part," where we found out that the Dominion and the Breen have teamed up here, and that they have Worf and Ezri, and we're right back in that scene to start off the episode as Weyoun is kind of taunting them, and playing with them a bit, in his normal charming Weyoun way. Worf not enjoying Weyoun, and he got mad at him taunting Ezri, so the Breen shocked him with their little stun gun here, which I think Weyoun's like, fascinating device. Where'd you get that? Anyway, so they kind of carry them off, and they introduce.
This is where we find out that Weyoun is into interspecies erotica.
Oh yes, we do find that.
Oh, because that was the taunt to Ezri. I was like, I love watching interspecies mating rituals or something.
Yes.
So yeah, he wants to, and that's when Worf got mad, and that's when he got shocked by the Breen. Okay, yeah, thank you. And then speaking of the Breen, so we meet the leader of this Breen group. His name is his title is Thought something, and which is apparently like a general or something. But we never get to actually hear the Breen talk in English. It's always like this computer language, and then it's translated by either Weyoun or later on it will be the founder, or just reacting. So we're always inferring what they're saying. But we're finding out that the Vorta and the founders and the Dominion in general are very much favoring these Breen being involved. They're getting preferential treatment almost right off the bat. And we also see here the founder who's on the ship. She comes along for her one scene in the episode where we see she's very sick. She's got this disease, but she actually hides that from the Breen, probably not to show weakness. So she's able to sort of, pull herself together and come into the room looking healthy, I suppose, to meet the leader of the Breen group. I don't know, they exchange some things, and and Damar is very suspicious about this off the bat. This episode might even be a Damar focused episode. I'm not quite sure, but he's definitely like it's definitely about him, why he turns eventually on the Dominion by the end of this episode, and it had been building for a while, but you kind of really see here that the Cardassians are not too popular with the founders in the Dominion right now. They kind of take them for granted, and they're just excited to have the Breen.
They're not happy being pushed aside as well.
Right.
Damar isn't anyway.
Damar isn't, and I can imagine other Cardassians wouldn't be as well. Anyway, so that's how we start off this episode. Then we get our title card coming off the credits. Strange Bedfellows with a great shot of that Breen ship again. We see here that Damar is looking at a pad to start off the episode, which is the new treaty, like that with the Breen joining the Dominion, and Damar is like, it says I have to give them planets, but it doesn't tell me what those things are, and there's all like this stuff, and Weyoun's just like, don't worry about it. Like it's in a secret document under a clause. But the thing is that like the Cardassians, they thought joining the Dominion was going to help them like dominate the rest of the Alpha Quadrant species, but they're still subservient to the founders. I guess like maybe when they did it, I think in Ducat's mind, like once we defeat the Federation, the Klingons, then we'll eventually overthrow the Dominion was maybe their plan. But after all this war that's been going on, the Cardassians are in deep with this, and they've suffered greatly, and the Dominion don't really care. They're just cannon fodder, right? That's not, under this structure, we're all servants of the Dominion, which Damar has to sort of acquiesce to, right? So that's what. So mentioned Ronald D. Moore wrote the episode, and of course René Auberjonois, Odo himself, directed this one.
So you can see why though Damar is like feeling pushed aside. I mean, honestly. There hasn't been really a difference between Weyoun and him. I mean, they're always been in the room together, planning together, whatever it might be, waking him up drunk, whatever it might be. But long and short, you didn't see another member of the Dominion as a real player.
Right. Well, and I think that the difference between Damar and Ducat, I think, is that Damar is actually a patriot. You know, he really he believes in the Cardassian Union and all its hype, and he wants the Cardassian people to be successful and prosperous. And I guess Dukat wants that too to an extent, but he more about himself.
The difference is more is easier than that. Dukat is grandiose. He thinks he's a megalomaniac. He thinks very highly of himself. Damar is full of shame every day.
Yeah, like.
But and Dukat also will play the political game extremely well.
Right.
Yeah. Well, right, because when we meet Damar, he's just like this guy who's serving on Dukat's freighter. You know. Oh, hold on. Bane, got a special correspondent here. Worf, son of Moog, Bane of Jody, and Slayer of Gowron coming in. You know, on his way back from the Cardassian homeworld. Worf, would you like to comment on this episode?
Where is Jody?
Jody, he is he's missing, just like Ezri and you were for most of the 3 episodes here.
Why is Jody not here?
Unclear. He gave no answer. It was dishonorable, actually.
Dishonorable motive.
Yeah.
Perhaps we should find him.
Perhaps.
And perhaps we should maim him.
Well, I like how you soften that for him, but you are the bane of his existence. So
Bane of Jody, Slayer of Gowron.
I heard a rumor that Jody is planning to put out a T-shirt that says "Worf sucks" on it.
Dishonorable motive.
Oh my!
Yes,
Captain.
Oh yes.
Oh, what strange bedfellows we are.
Indeed. Do you like this particular installment of Deep Space Nine, Worf?
It's not my favorite.
Yeah, well, this is one where you have to admit that Ezri's right.
Let it not be said even a Klingon warrior can succumb to the desires of the flesh.
Exactly.
Eating it and otherwise.
Right.
Worf, can I ask a question here? What did you feel when you broke away on 8's neck?
Pretty good, Adam. Should have been Damar, though.
Yeah, because as he told us in the episode,
there's only one Damar.
There's only one Damar. He's like, I'll keep that in mind. There's calls here for a Worf and Jody rap battle. Is that something you would come to face in? Do you answer that challenge?
You have never heard rap until you've heard it in the original Klingon.
Of course. Bust all those beats out there. So
jump around in Klingon. Are you kidding me?
It's like Klingon acid punk,
Yes. Well, not my favorite.
No, that's more of a Tendi thing. She's not even Klingon.
Milota.
I'm sure I got something here for that.
Gorgeous.
Thank you. It's quite majestic. Well, Worf, we're just getting into the part of the episode where Damar was figuring out that the Cardassians were getting screwed over by the Dominion. And
so, who are the strangest bedfellows in this episode?
I think the strangest bedfellows are, I guess it's still Dukat and Kai Wynn, isn't it? Like,
I don't know. They kind of deserve each other, don't they?
I guess so. It's not that strange.
Well, they're the same person. This episode says that, like, they're the same person. They're exactly the same.
Yeah. Well, they have a lot of things in common in terms of how they want to go after power and those kinds of things.
Well, she says the Bajoran people need me. They need me as a leader. And fucking Ducat is always saying, "Oh, it would have been so much worse without me. I was so kind.
You're so lucky you had me."
It's the same.
You know, it's the same. You're right. It's the exact
Yes.
same thing.
Bajor needs me.
Okay, so Worf, I really enjoyed this scene here with Martok as he's he's talking about how he's going to take out these Cardassians. Great man. He's going to take out 500,000 Cardassians.
11th Order.
The 11th Order. What does he say here?
The Cardassian 11th Order. It's a reserve unit. Old men and walking wounded. They don't stand a chance.
I think you're right.
And we find out here that there's 500,000 Cardassians that Martok will basically slaughter in the course of this episode.
And he's not exaggerating. He's
not.
exaggerating.
500,000.
Glory to the Empire.
And they are both just giggling that they're like old men and fucking disabled people. They're just like, look him, yeah.
And Cisco's like, do it. Go do it. Yeah.
Shooting gallery.
See if you can poison their atmosphere.
Yeah. Oh, he was that.
Commander, I said launch torpedoes.
Oh, I love launching torpedoes and hearing about it.
All right. But beyond the war itself, the Dominion War, Martok starts getting very philosophical about marriage with Cisco and starts talking about how war has broken out in the marriage, whether you know it or not.
War has broken out, whether you know it or not. Long, grueling, intoxicating war.
Did he say intoxicating Worf?
No, war.
Oh, that's much better. Yes.
Then he started talking about his Targ. His pet Targ as a child that his wife Sorella let run into the forest out of his life, and he would still trade all the Targs on Kronos for his wife.
Well, you know the best thing is about Targs, they are both loyal and delicious.
Yes, that's true. You know, you can eat the heart of Targ. It's a delicacy. But they're still animals. They're warrior animals. You know.
In his bony breast beat the heart of a warrior.
Fun fact, you know what is the most delicious part of the Targ? The bony breast.
Ironic, isn't it?
Yes.
Right, but
don't you think?
I do. I agree.
It's like rain on Ferenginar.
Is this part of the rap battle?
I've already won.
Sam's asking if he can get a shout out.
Did someone die?
He just wants you to honor him in his house.
Listen, wait. Before you do that, Sam, I don't think you want to ask that. Remember last week, Worf was a sniveling little baby, complaining about his relationship with Ezri. I lost a lot of respect for Worf last week.
Everyone complains about the relationship with Ezri.
Yeah, but my goodness, there was no warrior there. There was no warrior.
Look, I have duties to attend to, fellow travelers on the path to Kalhaya, that I must see to diligently.
Yes.
Don't you all have duties you should be attending to?
You're the guy who can never get enough work, Worf. So, maybe you have to get back to it.
And for a guy that's going to see his long lost love in Stovacor, he sure doesn't want to die. He's working really hard to stay alive.
There's time.
It's true. All right. Well, Worf, thank you for being with us.
Yeah. I'm starting to see Team Jody on this a little bit.
Well, we'll see what happens in the rap battle. Oh, now he's back. Did we lose Kevin?
We lost Kevin.
What happened? I killed him. And you were next at him.
Killed him like you killed Wayoon 8?
That was Kevin 7.
Oh, there he's back.
Oh no, it's Kevin 8. I'm out of here.
Kevin, we understand that Worf killed Kevin. Oh, what did he do?
Bring on Kevin 9.
Kevin 9 now coming at us.
Yeah. Mess with a Klingon warrior.
I don't know how to transition off that.
Well, there's no warrior on our
Taste his bat left.
The bat left. Could you use that bat left to cut fruit?
Oh, the fruit of Targ.
The fruit, though, that this Bajoran fruit that Kai Wynn and Ducat were eating.
Oh
or
no, I can't
Anjo,
go
as
through
he's
that.
known.
That is a very tough rind.
This was a very funny scene, actually.
With them eating the fruit?
So we're eating the fruit, and then they run out. Just go get some more.
It's amazing to watch Ducat's like performance change as he's like now got Kai Wynn sort of under his spell, and he's just like enjoying the fruit. They're laughing about how the Ranjin guy, the priest, is not too doesn't like Ducat too much, and he's very disapproving and very scowly at them. Worf again, but yeah, he's buttering her up and this romance, but like. It really does work here. I think between these two evil characters who are working together. Then the next transition was over here to the Dominion ship. Oh, Davan's here now. Oh,
What's up?
hey,
My Worf went to slay Jody. And Kevin 11 or something at his own.
Kevin. Yeah, we're up to like 11 Kevins now.
Yeah.
We saw here that the scene with Worf and Ezri were hung upside down in the ship. I guess is a form of torture, but Ezri said it was helping her back.
It's a pretty fantastic scene, actually. Them having a conversation just strung upside down.
Yeah, it's memorable. I think I was like, remember that part when they were upside down? But they're even though they hooked up like 2 episodes ago, most of like this episode and that last episode is them just bickering with each other, and sort of getting like upset with each other until eventually the conclusion later on in this episode when they kind of hash that out. So then we go over to Sisko, who is cooking up probably paprikash, some Hungarian food as Cassidy comes back, his new bride, his wife. She's come back from a freighter run. Now, how long have Worf and Ezri been missing is what I keep trying to figure out here. How long have they been sort of...
Seems like it's been a while.
Seems like a good while because it doesn't feel like Cassidy and Ben got married yesterday. It feels like it's probably been at least a few days. So, okay. Oh, I heard the ding. Maybe Kevin's back. We'll see if he stays, though.
What number?
I'm adding him. Here we go.
Kevin 10.
Kevin.
Hello, Kevin 10.
Yes.
Because apparently Worf killed Kevin 7, 8, 9, and now we're on to 10.
Yeah, it took a while, but I'm back.
Cloning process is back.
Right. So
season, Kevin's been resurrected,
Good to see
So
you, Kevin, Dan.
Kevin, we're up to the scene here where Cassidy came back to the station while Ben was cooking dinner, and he starts talking about, hey, I got this these religious duties I got to do every year as the emissary, but now you're as the wife of the emissary, maybe you can do it. And she's like, I did not convert to this religion, enjoy this religion. But she does also tell the story about how, I guess, being the girlfriend of the emissary is different than being the wife of the emissary in the eyes of the Bajoran people. And so the Bajoran crew members on her freighter are like asking her all these advice now, which Sisko finds amusing. He's like, welcome to the club now that we are kind of, big celebrities on this planet. But she says, I'm not doing this religious stuff, and I'm going to take a shower. See you later. And Sisko kind of thinks back here to the conversation he had earlier with Martok about the war and all the battles that come with it.
The battle begins.
Yeah.
Over the course of our marriage, I've won more than my fair share of battles between us, but in the end, I know she will win the war.
She will win the war, he says. And Sisko, as he puts hot sauce, I'm not sure what the significance of the hot sauce was in the food. Maybe it was to get at her, but he looks at it like with intent.
Obviously, she doesn't enjoy hot sauce.
So is this him? This is him fighting back in the war. Yes.
Apparently, yeah.
Yes. Back to Cardassia.
Because that's what you want in a marriage. You want to both act like children.
Correct.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
he,
As much
he
petty revenge as possible, really.
like and he's already been married. Like, you know?
Yeah, but you know that was a lifestyle where they, well, maybe she wasn't apart, but I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, he's not exactly completely new to this. Anyway, so back to Cardassia, where Worf and Ezri are trying to get something out of their bed bunk here so that they can try to pick the lock, but it's not going well here between Worf and Ezri as they kind of get into an argument. Ezri hits her head and she get poked, and I don't know, she blames Worf. I didn't really. Was this Worf's fault? Like she claims, I don't know.
I think it just shows the aggravation and frustration they have with each other, and they've been together too long now.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, we were trying to talk about how long have they been like missing? Like 3 episodes.
It's got to be getting close to 2 weeks at least now.
Yeah. But yeah, the irritability between these two is off the charts. And then
we all know what happened last time they got irritated with each other.
Actually, yeah, it all started in an argument. So maybe this is about giving Weyoun a show, an interspecies erotica. I don't know.
Jamaharon.
So they start getting into it, and Ezri, says, because Worf makes another one of his Slivak comments.
Slivak.
And she goes, well, am I supposed to be embarrassed that Worf or that Jadzia had a few lovers? And he goes, a few. She goes, yeah, it wasn't a few, it was everybody.
Am I supposed to be embarrassed because Jadzia had a few lovers before you?
A few.
You're right. It was more than a few. It was dozens, hundreds. In fact, I don't think there's anyone aboard DS9 who wasn't her lover.
Especially Quark.
Especially Quark.
Especially
more.
Especially that Ferengi.
Yeah, that Ferengi.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, Worf's just like, more of those arguments.
That's the perfect response to his accusations. It was,
yeah.
It's good,
but I don't think it was everybody, but I think that Jadzia did get around. So anyway, not that there's any shame in such things. But this is when Weyoun, is it 8? Yeah, Weyoun 8 shows up here to I don't know. He's like, I went through your neural scans. Do you want to tell us more about it? And they don't agree to this. That they got to get more persuasive. Oh, they're also announced that they're going to be executed for war crimes. And Damar's like, don't worry about it. This is Cardassian justice. You will be found guilty and executed. It's just you're being informed as a courtesy. So Weyoun starts taunting Ezri about her feelings for Dr. Bashir. That this is in the mental scan, I guess, and Worf takes this opportunity to snap the neck of Weyoun 8. Who you recall did replace Weyoun 7, who was the defector Weyoun who tried to go off with Odo, remember, until he activated his implant. Yeah. So this is the end of Weyoun 8. It's like I just like Damar, I always enjoy this when he kills him. Just like boom.
Yes. Damar just starts laughing. It's so
well, yeah, because at first this guy is going to shoot Worf, right? This Cardassian soldier, and then Damar just starts laughing, and I pulled that.
Overconfidence. The hallmark of the Weyouns. I think the founders should eliminate that from your genetic recipe next time.
I just agree with Worf. This episode's pretty great.
There's some good moments.
And I also like this right after when he says, "You should have killed me. There's only one Damar," and he's like, "I'll keep that in mind."
There's only one Damar.
He's gonna kill me. Anyway, they're like, they'll just clone another Weyoun, which is exactly what happens in this episode.
It feels like he got there in like 3 hours. The next Weyoun, he's like, Damar just seems to be like getting his lunch from that day, and it's like the Weyoun walks in.
Yeah, it seems to be faster than they can raise a Jem'Hadar, which we know takes a few days to go from infant to full grown. So the Vorta obviously don't have that same kind of thing. So anyway, back to Dukat and Kai Wynn, who are having some spring wine, the blue variety. Of course, Dukat always loves living it the high life. no matter what persona he's in. As they're going back enjoying this, and is this where he starts? This is where she gets a vision in the middle of this conversation. She thinks from the prophets. Again, it's played by Cisco and Kira and Odo and the Ranjan, the other guy. Who always serves her, and they start talking about her, but the task is at hand. She says, I'm ready. But she does not understand. It's kind of vague, and then you need to feel the love of the Pa race as oh no, red eyes, almost Teen Wolf-esque. And holds out the I guess that's the Pa Wraith earring that we saw in a previous episode. So she recoils in fear.
No.
Yeah, she's just met the devil, and she starts freaking out here. Dukat kind of feigns like, what do you mean? What's happening? Tell me.
And the prophets have never spoken to her yet. The Pa Wraith do. So she's just like, oh no.
And she's supposed to be not just a priest, but she's the highest of all, the spiritual leader of the Bajoran people, like the Pope.
But interesting comparison. So the prophets clearly don't give a shit about the position of the Kai. That's something Bajorans made up.
Right. The Vedic Assembly.
You could argue that if there is a Christian God, it doesn't give a shit about the Pope, because that's just a position created by people as well.
Well, yeah.
Maybe the Christian God would have it's Cisco, its emissary, that is, So I think that's an interesting comparison. They don't give a shit about Kais, even Kai Opaka. That's not they never mention the Kai ever.
But when she comes to Revelation, though, that the prophets don't care about me. And I've been asking, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? That's like blasphemy. Why would you ever ask that question? Because your road is now not going the right way.
Right. But and often these people who do ascend to the highest levels of a church or any kind of organization are people who are just political, ambitious, and especially in a religious order that's just such as this, it's supposed to be all selfless and giving, and you're supposed to be humble and whatever. But clearly that's not the case, especially with Kai Wynn.
And hence the reason they chose Cisco, an outsider, as their emissary, someone who's not caught up in that political game, in that cultural.
Yeah, it seemed like Vedic Barile was a good guy, even though boring, but he doesn't seem like
boring.
So boring. So that was his biggest crime. But at least he wasn't like Kai Wynn. But anyway, so she sends off Dukat, go get the orb, and we see her as he's walking away. He's like, it's working. I'm converting her to the Pa race, and this is exactly what happens. Back to Cardassia. So on Cardassia, we see here Damar enjoying some Kanar, as he does.
Kanar with Damar.
I had some Kanar with Damar. And Wayun 9 comes in. And he goes, did you go say hi to Worf?
He's laughing at him.
Starts laughing.
So good.
It is a pretty funny scene.
Because he's killed one himself.
He killed Wayun 6.
Wayun 6.
Yeah.
Wayun 6 was a great man as well.
According to Wayun 8, he was. Yes. Yeah. Then the Breen interrupt their conversation here. This is where they start telling Damar he's gonna have to start taking orders from the Breen guy.
Clearing his orders through the Breen.
Yeah. You submit your recommendations through the Breen, please. Which so now.
I was with you guys. I've been watching your guys' reviews where this storyline so far hasn't been the most exciting, right? And the most intriguing, as far as this last big 12-parter or whatever it is, and even this season to a degree. But the injection of the Breen is so politically and also in the warfare sense and just character-wise and everything so interesting. I find that's the kind of the injection this season needed was the Breen.
Well, for me, it's interesting, but it's not enough. I want to know way more. And I don't like the fact that we can't understand them. There's no reason for that.
That's kind of annoying.
Yeah, I feel like that's it's lazy. It feels like they don't want to give us any new characters, so they're just giving and I guess that they're figuring
it's an opportunity for humor as well, because Thought Gore will say something, and like you get Wayun's response without hearing what Thought Gore said, and they use that for humor a lot. So I think
Yeah,
that's what
it
they're
works
trying
in some situations better than others,
I
but
think they chose that so we would feel how Damar felt, like out of the loop and out of
That's a good
to.
point.
You know what? That's interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
good take on that.
Yeah,
there's-
I do like the fact that, I mean, if you flip back a few pictures here, how much Wayun is actually smiling. Like he's getting a big kick out of this too. Like it seems. Like look at that.
well,
he loves the Breen so much more than the Cardassians.
Yeah, because basically the founder has said, like, you make the Breen happy, keep them on our side, et cetera, and that's exactly what Wayne's going to do.
For some minor concessions.
Some minor concessions. He goes, there are no minor planets in the Cardassian Union, but he's like, once we conquer all this war and this territory, there's gonna be lots to go around. Don't worry about it.
Cardassian Prime's probably on the list.
Yeah. So Worf and Ezri have a jailbreak attempt here in this next scene where they try to basically use a part of their bed to get out. It kind of works as they get out of the door. They hit the Cardassian guard with the pipe. They take his phaser rifle and they make it. They shoot this guy. Worf gets shot by this other guy, and I think they make it maybe 2 hallways length away before they're recaptured.
That was the best part of this escape attempt, is just when he goes, "Leave me," and she goes, "Shut up." That's all the dialogue.
Yeah, it's all the dialogue. Yeah, he's like, "Leave me," and she's like, "Shut up," and she picks him up. So they get recaptured. So that was that. And then we have a scene in Quarks checking here.
Would have yelled that if he tripped over his shoelace, though. Leave me!
Leave me! I dishonored myself. Do you guys like this scene? The one?
No. It's like every other episode in this whole series, like the whole 7 years, they would have gone and taken a runabout and go and find these guys. Here they're just at the bar commiserating how sad it is they're missing.
Right.
Well, do they know where
how
they are?
sad they are that Ezri is missing. Nobody is giving a flying fuck about Worf in this scene.
No one.
They're all fighting over Ezri again.
Even O'Brien.
Fuck off with this.
Right. And so Quark pours Ezri's favorite drink, which O'Brien doesn't like, and then Quark says, "You don't have to sit here. You can sit over there. We don't have to look at it." And yeah, Bashir doesn't say much in the scene. He's just kind of worried.
But
I guess
he starts to think. Oh, you get the little the interest that he has now more, because he did say it. I wonder.
Anyway, so he walks away, and O'Brien's just kind of like left staring at his drink by the end. I don't know. It's kind of like I like it in the sense that they acknowledge that they like, where are Worf and Ezri? They're missing, but I don't know if I like this version of it again, because it's more piney. This whole like Ezri is like this prize to be won between Quark and Bashir and Worf. I hate that. We talked about that in some of the previous episode reviews from this season. But that's what they went with, right? So it is what it is.
Yeah, it was good to see you, fellas. But I'm gonna save you having to hear crying, screaming babies, and duck out now.
Yes. Okay. Good night, Davan.
Later. A solid 8. This one.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So back to Kai Wynn, who is talking to Anjo or Dukat about how she talked to the devil, and then they bring in the orb, which she wants to talk to. Oh yeah. Dukat asks Kai Wynn, "Can I ask you what you're planning?" And she goes, "No, you may not." Kind of like how Cisco told Bashir that earlier this season. "Can I ask what you're planning?" Cisco, "No." But she opens up the orb of wisdom, or is it prophecy? And nothing happens. There's no experience. There's nothing. I don't know. Like in this holy war, I guess the prophets are just like, "You suck, Kai Wynn. We're not even going to try to talk to you." Because I feel like they could have maybe convinced her to not, go the power race. I don't know how this war works, but it's the prophets aren't trying too hard, it feels like. But anyway, so they won't talk to me because I've been in communion with the evil ones. And it's basically here that Ducat gives his little he kind of reveals that he was sent by the Pa race.
The true gods of Bejor came to me and asked me to serve them. The Pirates, the prophets have done nothing for you. During the occupation, they turned their backs and let our people suffer. They've appointed an alien emissary. The Pirates will give you everything you've ever dreamt of. The power, the adoration of the people. Stop pretending to be something you're not. Take what they're offering you. Go. Crawl back to your prophets. Beg their forgiveness. Live the rest of your life in Cisco's shadow.
I like this dialogue. I like the speech she gives. It's this is like Shakespearean almost, right? Like
well, because he's also talking about himself, right? Like I love that last line, live in Cisco's shadow. Like that's
him
just
talking to
him
himself.
projecting, but it also works on her because she has as well, right?
And she's always felt like that, and there's always been that tension between them, right? And so it's the perfect angle to exploit. And and she doesn't. She's an interesting character to me because she wants to be good, but she's just can't help herself. She's she like there's part of her that just wants, because she's dedicated her life to this religion and to this faith, despite being all these other things. And so it's it really is quite.
She's a true believer. She's not.
Oh,
yeah. There's no conning anybody.
Yeah,
with her, like she really believes it,
right? And she starts talking to the orb, and like there's a real sadness to this whole like fall here, with her. And she goes through this despair. Then she calls Kira in the middle of the night. Kira says, "Okay, I'll come over." And the Reg, Colonel Kira here to see you. He is fun.
It's just hating life.
Yeah, just like, how did he get this gig?
I was fucking sleeping. What the hell?
But Kira even she got into uniform, and she talks about Kai Wynn kind of gives this confession. She pours out her heart to Kira. Says, I want to be on the good path. I've made all these mistakes, and and I wish I was better. And Kira consoles her and says, you need to run away from what has driven you down this path, which is of corruption, which was power and needing this adoration and all these other things. And you need. I don't know if Kira needed to hit her with the step down as Kai right away. I feel, but but it's not wrong either. It's just maybe not the right approach in this particular moment. But she doesn't know that all this other stuff is happening.
Yeah.
And so and Kai Wynn does not like that idea. She's like, no, I can't not be the Kai.
My people need me. My people need me.
Bejor needs me, child.
Bejor needs me.
And Kira's like, okay, good night. I don't know what else to tell you. So, and she takes off, right? So I enjoy that scene. Back to Cardassia, and back to more of Woodward laughing at the Breen's jokes, which I thought were funny. Again, they're out of the loop. Damara's out of the loop of the joke. He doesn't get the joke. The joke's on him. If anything. Anyway, he goes to look at the reports, and he finds out that entire 11th Order has been wiped out. 500,000 Cardassians done. They were slaughtered by the yeah. And Woodward's like, don't worry about it. They're loyal. They are Dominion soldiers who gladly gave up their
They're
lives.
not Cardassians or Dominion soldiers. That's what he said.
Yeah, they're not your people. He says, my people. They're not your people. They're the founders' people. But I don't think Cardassians.
He's got a point, though. I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, the fact is, Cardassians have been doing the bulk of the fighting and and the losing.
Yes. But Wayun's also not wrong that this is the deal Cardassia made when they joined. And when they signed up for this, and this is sort of like the fallout, but they were naive to think that once we defeat our common enemies or whatever, that this will, I guess, we'll duke it out amongst each other. I think that's what Dukat and Damar had in mind when they made this deal. And it's not working out too well for them, But now Ducat's off worrying about Pa race, so this isn't really his concern. It would be interesting to see how Ducat would have navigated this situation compared to Damar. But anyway, and then Damar, after that conversation, when he finds out all those people are dead, he goes back, pours himself more Kanar. He's pouring it back, and he even throws it here at the mirror. Is he again looking in the mirror, not happy with what he sees? And we see that.
How can you drink something that consistency? It's just disgusting.
Yeah, I thought too. That was really fake stuff.
It's like a syrup. Like
it's worse than prune juice.
Yeah, it's alcoholic syrup. Is that what it is?
It seems so, and it looks gross.
It does. Yeah, and it just had smeared. I love the visual of the shot. I guess we can credit Rene Auberjonois for that, as he was directing this episode. And then back to okay, so there's kind of like a scene here with Worf and Ezri that starts off like I guess the night before and then kind of concludes in the next morning because there's a bit of a time jump, but it's mostly about Ezri and Worf contemplating how they're about to be executed. Worf is still mad at her for seducing him on the planet and whatever, and making him dishonor himself. And Ezri's more like, maybe we should both like give ourselves a break. If Jody was here, I was going to play this quote for Ezri for him.
Are you angry at me for something that I did, or because I'm not Jadzia?
Or maybe even for you, Sam. Oh, Norman has joined us. Hi, all. Suspect you're already. No, we're all here, Norman. Remember, the Cardassians' hot beverage is fish juice, according to. Yeah, that's right. And they are like lizard, I don't know. So they got a different thing. But she she says like maybe we both made mistakes and whatever. So Worf doesn't want to deal with this situation the night before. Then the next morning, he basically wakes her up saying, "You're kind of right about everything, Ezri, and I wanted to believe you were Jadzia, and I wanted to see her in you, and whatever." I don't know. And then there's all like, because there was the part where she made the joke and he was like, or Ezri says, "You used to like my jokes." And I keep struggling with like, how much is it a new person and how much is it the old person, right? When the symbiote goes from one host to the next, because did Dax not make those jokes? Like that Jadzia Dax made, right? Is the personality of Dax sort of got a through line, through all the hosts?
I think it's like a Tuvix situation. It's a different person, but there's memories and.
Tuvix is a good comparison where, he was he was neither Tuvok or Neelix, but he had aspects of both. Right. So, so I guess I just get a little bit like my backup when like Worf will say things like, well, that was not you. That was Jadzia, but it was Dax. So therefore it was her. Right. Anyway, so they make up by the end of this conversation. They say friends, and he goes friends and more, which is nice. So now they're ready to die, which Damar shows up for with a couple Jem'Hadar soldiers. And as they're walking away here, of course, he shoots those Jem'Hadar in the back and takes them out. And then gives them the rifles and says, "Yeah, there's a shuttle in the third bay, and you go tell the Federation that they got an ally in the Cardassians." This is big. So, just when the Dominion gets the Breen in the mix, they end up getting this. What greater mole could the Federation have? On the other side, like not just a general, but like the leader of the entire Cardassian Union. So. they kind of run off on their way, and they go. And then he has to go tell Weyoun about it, which I guess Damar has. You put the Jem'Hadar in charge of the security. You tell me. I guess there's no record.
You tell me who shot those Jem'Hadar.
You tell me who shot them in the back. He also gave them like a map of how to get through past all the security checkpoints and get out of Cardassian space, which was handy. So he was like, "Why don't you go tell the founder? But if she doesn't like it, I'm sure I'll like meeting Weyoun 10 or whatever he says." And I don't know if she kills that Weyoun or not, to find out that they escaped. I don't know why the founder would care that much about Worf and Ezri anyway. Like,
No.
They're just two more officers in this grander war. I don't really get the significance of it. And back to Kai Wynn, who then calls back Ranjo or Dukat. And then this is kind of like their final little, she's like, "I've decided to join you and take out the paw race." And she has this great little speech here to end off the episode.
I will no longer serve gods who give me nothing in return. I'm ready to walk the path the paw race have laid out for me.
I'll walk with you, and no one will be able to stand against us.
Those who dare to try, the Federation and its fetish puppets, the false gods and their precious emissaries, they'll all be swept aside like dead leaves before an angry wind.
They're the angry wind, guys. The angry Kai wind. And that is the end of the episode. I really love that, like the speech there at the end with Kai Wynn. You're right. It is kind of her episode, and she has made her final turn. Norman saying he liked the Ezri and Worf's talk. I guess, the one just before they escaped, and Ezri finally becomes a likable. I think it's something I wish they had done earlier in the season. I don't know if it needed to come this late. But
I've liked Ezri actually for a couple episodes now. I think she started down this path 2 or 3 episodes ago, but Worf has been the one who's annoyed the crap out of me.
Yeah. I agree. They're both annoying in the whole thing, and they should be better about it, but they're not, right? So it's anyway. I don't know.
I think it went on long because I don't see a point for them to be. Like, what was the point of all of this? Next episode, they're going to be back, I'm sure, right? Like, they've escaped.
Yes.
What was the point of any of that after the planet? Like, they could have wrapped all that up in one episode instead of stretching it over 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think, like, this is them. I don't know. I guess they were wondering, like, what's going to come from this show after. Like, obviously nothing ever came. There was no Deep Space Nine sequel, but I think in their mind they were like, well, we're gonna one day make movies or whatever. Maybe we want to just get all this stuff sort of wrapped up in the series, and I guess. But to your point, it didn't need to be 3 episodes of this. They could have done this in 1, and they could have done it earlier in the year. But so it went on forever, and like there's all this awkwardness, and we got all these Ezri episodes, and I think like she's not a bad character, but I think she gets way too much focus in this last season. And that's about it, right? But I don't dislike the character. I'm glad that the Dax character kept going, in some form, but. Anyway, that's my take. Can we get into any fun facts, Adam? Would you like
to
share?
So, Dave, this episode was originally called Eclipse, following from Penumbra and then Umbra, and then they went away from the whole wrapping it up with Eclipse. Unfortunately, not that it's a bad episode name, but. During the composition of this episode, Ronald D. Moore's wife went into labor earlier than expected, and Moore had to take the week off. This threw the writing schedule into chaos and forced Stephen Bear and Hans Beemir, who were working on The Changing Face of Evil, and Rene Echeverria, who was working on Penumbra, to abandon their episodes and complete the writing of this one. So, considering that, I think they did a pretty good job in holding it all together, because it did make sense.
But maybe that's why it just feels so long and drawn out, because they had to get as many passes.
Yep. Yep. Damar's comment that Worf and Ezri's execution sentence had been determined before their trial begins is a reference to the Cardassian justice system, which is established in the Maquis Part 2 and Tribunal 1994. So the scene between Sisko and Martok, where they discuss marriage as a battle, was added, at least in part to help pad out and run the time when the episode was running short. Nevertheless, several scenes were scripted and are filmed that did not make the final broadcast, including 2 featuring Cassidy Yates and 1 featuring Miles O'Brien.
Yeah, didn't need that.
Nope. This is the final episode of the series, directed by René Auberjonois. I can never say it.
Auberjonois.
Thank you so much. The title refers to a common. The title refers to a common expression: "Politics makes strange bedfellows," commenting on the odd compromises and partnerships in the political arena.
Yeah, I feel like the last episode should have been called "Strange Bedfellows," but I guess they had the wedding, so they need the "Till Death Do Us Part."
I think I said this before a few weeks ago. Kai Wynn's guest quarters are a redress of Dr. Bashir's quarters. Yeah.
Well, like, aren't there many quarters on the station? Like, there's a big habitat ring, right? So I would imagine a lot of them.
She probably deserves thinks she deserves officers' quarters, I guess.
Like, I guess there is like I guess I don't pay enough attention, but like when you do watch like these shows, you do notice that like the quarters do have like different layouts, like Chief O'Brien's quarters versus Sisko's quarters, whatever. But I never paid too much mind to is this Bashir's quarters Kai Wynn's in? Anyway,
I don't either. I mean, okay. Where are we here? In this episode, this is where the character Damar begins the Cardassian rebellion against the Dominion. And after Damar ceases drinking in this episode, he begins to be he appears to be lit in a different manner with less harsh lighting and a softer shadow, giving him a warmer look than before. I noticed that, actually.
You did notice it? Because I think it's one of those like subconscious things for me that, once you tell me, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess so. But I didn't necessarily, but Damar feels less villainous all of a sudden, and little thing like lighting alone can do that.
Well, I mean, and honestly, you almost feel for the guy in this episode. Well, they just lost 500,000 people
in one battle.
It's wild.
Yeah. That's just one of I feel like the scale and the scope of the war is never truly shown or really understood. Right. But you're talking like many planets going out of here, each with billions of people on those planets, and so the war is just like massive and expansive, and most of it we don't even see,
Yeah. And when they describe what the purpose of that battle was, and the loss was to distract the Klingons where they go do a Romulan attack or something. So, it seems like it was for nothing.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the fun facts for this week, Dave.
Oh, I got one for you.
Sure.
This is according to Ira Bear. Mark Alimo never wavered from his belief that at heart Dukat was an okay guy. He developed his theory during the shooting of the 3rd season episode Defiant, a landmark show in terms of rendering Dukat a more ambiguous character from a moral standpoint. And despite all that Dukat had done, Alimo still felt that there was good in him. As Bear says, in Mark's mind, I believe he felt his relationship with Wynn was legitimate in some way, and that in some wacky fashion, it was Dukat's bid for legitimacy. I mean, Mark was actually upset we had him hit Sobor. Until the very end, he wanted Dukat to be the hero of Deep Space Nine.
I sense there is good in him, Dave.
I sense there is good in him. Yeah, but like, I think that just made it better. Like, I think that just makes the performance better. Does that make me kind of question Mark Alimo? Sure, but like, I don't know him in real life, and I don't need to worry about that. So, in terms of what I got on screen, I'm happy with it. So. With all that said, I think we can maybe get into our ratings. Let's bring that up. Okay. What did Davan say? An 8?
8.
He's a solid 8.
A solid 8. Okay. All right. So we'll throw in Davan's 8 to start this off here. And Strange Bedfellows. Okay. it's like I wish there was more action. I wish there was more happening. You know,
I do know.
I would say 7.5 again. Like I feel like I have the same feeling after every like these last 3 episodes which is the first third of this 9-part ending, and I'm like, it's all set up. Okay, let's just get to like, you know, act 2, and which I guess we're about to, right? So I'm fine with it, but I'm ready for something more spectacular to happen. Okay,
Norman gave this a 9.
He gave it a 9.
Yeah, surprising. Nice.
Sam is all over the place. He went from 8, now he's down to 5. So
what is it? 8 or 5, Sam?
Adam, what's your rating?
I'm giving this a 7.
7 from Adam and Kevin.
No action in this one. I love it. 8.5.
Yeah, you don't like action. All right.
No, I'm bored by it.
Well, I like talking too, but sometimes I want something to blow up. You know, call me old fashioned.
Well, we had some good. We had some good gun fights. We had we
had some neck snapping. Okay, okay, I'll go up to 7.7 for just the neck snapping alone.
Yeah.
Sam, are you on drugs? Sam wants to know.
Oh, he's a solid 5 on this episode.
Maybe.
All right.
Wouldn't you like to know?
So our collective rating is a 7.8 tonight, guys. That's the exact same rating IMDb has given it. We'll see if other panels like Jody and those will sway that ranking. So that is this episode. The next episode, guys, is called "The Changing Face of Evil." Again, I don't remember this episode, or what specifically is going. I remember this finale, but I don't remember specifically this happens in this episode.
Well, judging by the episode name, I think I know what. There's a reveal here.
The Changing Face of Evil. It's more about. This is when the Breen attack. Okay.
Well, I think also I imagine that Ducat is revealed to Kai Wynn in this episode. I would imagine.
That's right. I think he is. I think it's the Vedic guy kind of figures it out. Spoiler story.
Yeah.
So anyway, with all that said, we'll be back in a week's time to talk about that episode. As we only have how many? I guess 6 episodes left, right? To into the finale here. So, and then Deep Space Nine will be over for us. We might do one more retrospective to kind of talk about the whole process of going through this 4-year journey of watching every episode and what that's been like. I think as we did on Enterprise. And then, we're going to be bringing other review shows up in the near future. We're going to be doing our Star Trek The Next Generation review, going way well back to season 1, as well as the Orville will be coming out in the near future. I guess when we wrap up Deep Space Nine in its complete.
And don't forget, we've got Discovery starting this Thursday.
Yes, that's true. Just watch out. So the Discovery, the episode, we've got Ashley Millard coming on, as well as Chris Murphy and Michael Chan to join us. Because Adam, I believe we've subbed you out for this premiere, right?
I'm going to say, if I can jump in at the end, I'm going to jump in the end, Dave. I don't like to miss a premiere.
Okay. All right. At the end.
Don't worry. I won't mess it up with 5, but until the end.
Right. Okay. Because I was just trying to say, we're trying to keep it to 4 panelists per podcast whenever possible, 4 or fewer. Except I might make an exception here and there, like when we do the Star Trek The Next Generation premiere, which is Encounter at Farpoint. I think we can have maybe 1 or 2 more just because it's at the beginning. So all right. And
also, I have to say hi to Michael. I haven't seen him for a very long time. So.
It's been a minute. Yeah. When does the Voyager documentary come out? I don't know, Sam, but I would like to know. Norman. Norman's suggesting we actually review the what we left behind. Actually, that would be good. Actually, so as a kind of a cap off on this. Have you ever watched it, Adam?
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to maybe watch that after this, and then talk about the whole show. If it's wrapped up. So that's a good thing. Norman is going to the premiere in Los Angeles of this Voyager documentary. That's exciting.
Nice.
So cool. All right. Well, we got Discovery this week. We also will be doing a uniform ranking convention on Friday here on the channel. We're ranking 81 different Star Trek uniforms. From everything from the original series uniform to dress uniforms to special uniforms. It's probably going to be many hours of Davan and I arguing about things. We also have, Dave Pugsley coming on, and I feel like we have one more coming. I can't remember who it is. But is it you? It's you, Adam.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, that's right. I'm like, who was on the fourth? Oh yeah, it's Adam.
Yeah. Hours we're going to talk about. Okay, good.
Well, maybe.
These tier rankings take a while.
Because once we disagree, and especially if it's one Davan really doesn't disagree with, it becomes like we argued about what tier to put Janeway in. Whether she was
I have to check my flights. I might be on a plane.
Because we were like maybe gonna put Janeway in S tier or A tier, and I could have gone either way on it, quite frankly. But Davan was adamant she had to be in the S tier. So that was those kinds of things can happen in those tier debates. And look ahead, this is a busy week for the channel. Coming out on Sunday night, we will be doing our next installment of Star Trek Radio Theater. We are doing Conundrum from the Next Generation's 5th season. Will be Sunday night at 9 p.m. We got Kevin's gonna be playing Dr. Beverly Crusher. We got Adam playing Worf. I'll be playing Ro Laren, and Davin's playing the narrator, or not playing. He just is the narrator. We got all kinds of great live long and podcasters coming in for this. My wife Jody. We got Stephen Waters going to be doing first time on radio theater proper. So look out for that in the near future. Sunday night. Here on the channel, all kinds of great stuff going on here, and we're part of a United Federation of Podcasts, which is a network of different podcasts. Like, hey, did you see this one? Like, Aiming on Track, where he does music reviews. Like Hold Up, you were just on that one, Kevin, talking about sports movies.
Yes, I was. We watched the most painful movie ever. Every scene was agony in Foxcatcher. So
I did listen to this review, but you guys also talk about Cool Runnings, and I was definitely able to follow along for that segment of the podcast. So good stuff over there. Look out for Hold Up, X-Men, the X-Rated show with Davan and Andre every Tuesday. They're now into X-Men 97. If you're watching the new show coming out on Disney Plus, which is a sequel to the original Saturday morning cartoon show, they're covering each episode. Look out for that. And Super Mario Brothers podcast every Wednesday right now, covering Survivor 46, amongst other things. And I think we have more MCU coming up, and if there's more, I forget. So look out for all of that in the near future. Sunday night, Norman, I would have missed if it was Saturdays. We hope you will listen to us live. I think it will be a hoot. The fun thing with this one that we're doing Conundrum is that was our original workshop when we created radio theater was Conundrum. So it's gonna be and Ashley was Riker, I was Ro Laren back in that first time we did it. So we're carrying some of that through to this one. Anyway, with all that said, I think we'll leave you with maybe my favorite speech in the episode, and we'll see you next time. It's about a minute, guys, here, so you don't need to do the Vulcan salute until quite at the end.
War has broken out, whether you know it or not. Long, grueling, intoxicating war. I remember the day my beloved Sorella moved into my home. I had a pet Targ, had him since I was a boy, a filthy, mangy beast. But in his bony breast beat the heart of a warrior. Of course, Sorella loathed him. Well, to make a long story short, while she was supervising the unloading of her bags, Sorella accidentally left the front door open. And my faithful Targ, ever ready to follow the call of the wild, tottered outside on his frail legs and disappeared into the forest. I never laid eyes on him again. Don't get me wrong. I would not trade Sorella for all the Targs on Kronos. And over the course of our marriage, I've won more than my fair share of battles between us. But in the end, I know she will win the war.
See you next time, everybody.
Now let's get out of here.